Welcome to the Court of Connection. I have a special guest on the show today, Jessica Thomas. She's a beautiful soul that I met at the Unsilenced Woman Retreat a few weeks ago, who is a high performance coach, is just an all-around amazing human being, and I'm so excited for you to introduce you guys to her today. Jessica, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. And yes, Danielle, I got to meet you at the retreat. You were my roomie. So it was just a connection that kind of just was meant to be. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, you actually ended up being a part of our group as well. Yes. Her partner ended up leaving. And so we had our little throuple going on, and it was such a power move. So thank you again for your time. Let's start by just kind of opening up the floor we talked about how we met. Mm-hmm. What struck me about you immediately was you have this very grounding, piercing, quiet power, right? Mm-hmm. You just have this very quiet power about you. And I think when I think about leadership, there's always this connotation that it has to be this loud, big, big energy. But if we were all leading that way, it wouldn't work. Mm-hmm. It just wouldn't work.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, first, thank you. That's such a compliment, or that makes me feel like, oh, that's amazing that's coming out, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're right. My background's in corporate and operations, and so very, I guess, male dominated, as many things are, but there's still power in being soft, or what I'll say is trusting your power and kind of just aligning your leadership. And that's, I think, what I've learned over the years is I have been that quiet person in the background, but intently listening in the meeting when there's all these, C-suite people or people trying to make decisions, and there's back and forth. But, I remember this now that you bring it up, kind of, so I used to work in financial aid or Title IV funding. And so a lot of it was regulatory, but we had to make decisions that would, impact students the least amount. So that way they could just focus on school and just all kinds of things. But I would be in the back of the room, and I kind of was new. So it felt like I was shy, but really looking back, it was me taking it in and kind of thinking through my process. Mm-hmm. And so when I spoke up, people listened, because I wasn't there being loud, like what you're saying. I wasn't, hey, listen to me, and that kind of way of leadership. It was more calm and taking it in. And I don't know if that became intentional, honestly, until later when I worked with other leaders who were not that way, right? When you see the opposite, you're like, oh shit, that is not how I want to be. And it just kind of also reminded me of who I was or who I am, right? So yeah, but you're right. Leadership, just power, I think in general, the connotation of it is usually not, I don't know, it can be negative, or some people will take it that route. Mm-hmm. But really, when you're looking at it for yourself, I feel like that's the most beautiful power. And it is quiet. It can be strong. And, like you said, you said it more beautifully than I am, but it's just more natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was really drawn to your energy. Actually, you met Jordan, my best friend. She's definitely the quiet power, right? Mm-hmm. She's also the one kind of in the background, really gathering information, scoping things out, before she steps forward. She's very mm-hmm. intentional with her words, like you. And it's such a beautiful quality. I feel like I fall somewhere in the middle where I can be, in fact, at this workshop that I went to the last 2 weekends, I got called out for being a little bit, the whole idea of these 2 workshops I went to are to be very confronting in the best way, right? Because it's the second weekend is called Extreme Leadership. And so it's all right, let's see what your leadership is really about. And there were times where I would step forward because a young part was like, you're going to hear me, you know? If I felt quieted, my strategy is to get get bold and big, and it doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so in those spaces, I got to learn what does the middle look like? Because I can lead from an anchored, more quiet standpoint, and I can also bring a lot of big power energy. And
Yeah.
so, it's like, what does your middle look like, and how can you position yourself where people respect you in that, right? Where
Yeah.
they don't feel um, overpowered or controlled by that energy.
Mm-hmm. No, that's huge. And I'll say, when I met you, I mean, you have a magnetic energy, you're just very welcoming and open. And that's what I sense. And I think that's a huge part of leadership, like having that engaging presence where it feels safe, or just, like we said, magnetic, just kind of open. And when things are open like that, when someone's open, I feel like that is the safest spot, because there's no judgment happening. There's just kind of show up as who you are, and vice versa. But that's beautiful, like that type of retreat, to be able to like find that middle spot. And I believe that middle spot is like the perfect place, right? And I think that's where we're aligned. And that's, to me, like, even in the middle, like, if you think of middle, like, I think I'm aligned, right? Like, I'm centered, and that's exactly what that means, right?
Totally.
So it's interesting how you said that. Yeah. But yeah, it can be, and gosh, I get upset, and there's times where I'm like, oh, no, this isn't working, like, and it doesn't have to be professionally, it's personally as well, right? Like, it's not always the quiet, balanced individual. We aren't perfect. So I think that's the other beautiful thing about it, is that as long as we're aware of the type of leader or person or lover or friend that we want to be, we can always like just call back to that and like remember, like, oh yeah, let me go back to who I really am, like and aligned. So
exactly.
Yeah,
because I heard your roar a few times during the retreat.
You certainly did.
You're like,
Yeah.
it's so powerful. The duality is beautiful. So, one of the coolest things about having you, like meeting you and having you as a roommate, was you came from this corporate world and felt really pulled to start your own coaching business. And I was like, of course, because literally I quit my job to start a coaching business.
Congrats.
And so, and like, there's another gift from God to get to really see how someone did it. And so please tell us about your coaching business. And the name is Zenith, correct?
Yeah, yes, it is. So thank you. I'm so excited. So I think we'll be coming up on a year. So I left my corporate role a year ago and started Zenith High Performance Coaching. And it took me forever. Like, these are one of the things where you shouldn't get stuck, but I did. I put my heart into, what am I going to name it? And so anyhow, so Zenith is actually like the highest point between, like, say, Earth and the highest star. So a direct line to it. And so it literally means like the highest point. And so that's what I want for the people I coach, and for those who I work with, or just inspire, just to hear that you have a highest point, and you can get there, and you can summon that. Like, you can learn how to do that. Like exactly what you're saying, like that alignment is our highest point, because we're getting that straight line up to the highest point of where we're trying to go. And so that's kind of the symbolism behind Zenith. So I like that. And yeah, I left corporate, and I was just sharing the story last night, actually. I was doing a talk with a group in Houston, and I kind of reflected in a different way, but I started as a work study student in college, and then 15 years later, I'm an executive director running operations for like huge, $300 million of operations. And I only share that to say, like, there's complexity, there's stress, there's all kinds of things. Then I moved to consulting, and that was great and challenging as well, and leading huge transformation projects and technology, and again, more places for expectations or pressure. And I loved it, and I learned so much, and I worked with amazing people, I like, on paper, was successful, and I got the titles, I got the raises, so did all those things, but I didn't feel good about it anymore. Like, something just didn't feel right. And so around that time, I got my own coach, my own high performance coach. And I worked with her for 3 years because coaches always have coaches.
Mhm.
But it was just beautiful because it helped me pull out what I really wanted. Or let me put it this way. It let me get out of my own way. And that's
Mhm.
really what was happening the whole time. Cause like, and I'm sure you feel it because you left your job too. You're being pulled somewhere else. And sometimes you literally have to let yourself get pulled and
Yes.
just follow it. And it's hard and it's scary because it's not always tactical or maybe even practical, but it's magical. I wrote that down
Mhm.
last night. I was like, you can be magical and tactical at the same time.
Yes.
Like you really can. And this is, yes. So,
Oh my
um,
gosh.
yeah, so that's, yeah. So now I was like, so I saw how powerful coaching was for me. Um, and I just wanted to share that. And I did feel like that's where I was being pulled. Because you can reflect back to your role even and see how you've really been coaching the people you've been working with or the people you've been serving. And
Mhm.
so it's not coach as an official title, right, in the past, but you are a coach. And so that's what I realized too. I was like, well, shit, I've been inspiring, kind of leading teams through complexity and getting past hard things a lot. So
Yeah.
why don't I do this like dedicated and do this all the
Mhm.
time? So yeah.
Yes. That's so beautiful. Something that stood out is I kept waiting for so I've worked for a company that I deeply love. I still love. I mean, their mission is amazing. They're amazing. My pull away had nothing to do with not wanting to be a part of the company, right? It was just, this is exactly what we were talking about. I kept being pulled forward. I knew there was something bigger for me. And it was really just about timing and my own like being ready to take the leap. And so I actually went to this retreat back in November and I got this download, this direct channel from source that said, you keep waiting for the opportunity to arrive to leave Driftwood, but
Mhm.
it's on the other side of leaving. And I remember thinking, of course it is, right? Like,
Of
of
course.
course it is, right? Because
Yeah.
my system really needs something that this is the story. I need it figured out. I need it to have certainty. I need it to be producing before I can take the and God's like, girlfriend, and nope, this is part of the work. You get to jump and trust that this divine calling is going to beautifully unfold for you and
Mm-hmm.
you don't get to have both, right? That was the messaging, is like I kept trying to find momentum doing both and I just couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I just couldn't. And so many people, some people can do that, but like I felt really drained after my job and I had no desire to invest in myself. And I think for a lot of people, it does require taking the jump.
Yeah. No, that's beautiful. You said that, and just that download, like you said, that is just amazing. So I want to just
Mhm.
pause on that one. But yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think that like it takes more than courage, right? Because we are trying to survive. We're trying to make a living. We're trying to do these things, and also like live out our gifts and
Mhm.
what God really is wanting us to do and what He put us here for. And I think that was an epiphany I had as well. And oh, here's what I'll share about that too. And I'm glad you brought up your story, like you were kind of spoken to and it came to you. If I look back, there were probably 3 times where I noticed I was like, I should probably quit, but I didn't because I was scared
Yes.
because, I thought that would be like a failure if I quit or, um, and I'm no, like no shame in quitting because there was another time in my life where I was like, I'm quitting this. And I went to work at a clothing boutique, and it was the most fun I've ever had in my life working at a job, you know? And
Yeah.
so, and not to say that everywhere, I love where I work because, like I said, I've met great people, learned great things, served great people. But anyhow, back to the stories is like, there were 3 times when God was talking to me and I didn't listen because of that fear. But when I finally truly surrendered and let go, then I heard Him clearly. Like, and then it was like it sunk in. Um, part of it was like, it came down to my health too. And it was like, I wasn't paying attention to that. And I think that's something that if you're healthy, if you're blessed to be healthy and you're like, oh, this is fine, this is normal or whatever, you might not recognize how much a decision to not leave or not let go of somebody or to stay where you're at will impact you. So anyway, I share all that to say is like, yeah, it just kind of, it does kind of hit you one day where you're like, this is the day, you know, this is the day that we're done. And I trust where this is going. And yeah, and that's beautiful. I think it can be scary, but it's beautiful. So
Absolutely. Excuse me.
yeah.
What were you seeing in high achieving women that made you create the Power Pathway?
Ooh. So in my career, like I've worked with many leaders and so anytime there was a challenge, like at organization or an institution or wherever I was working, it all came to leadership. Like it just bubbles up to leadership in my experience, and just kind of that's what leadership is. And so then when I dived in, I was kind of just seeing women specifically. I'm sure there's men that do this too, but women specifically, where they're kind of holding back. And I had done it myself too. Like you walk into certain rooms and you're holding back just a little bit. You have a great idea, but you don't say it because you don't want to overstep whoever's in the room, or kind of shifting yourself around so that way you fit into what these expectations are in the, wherever you're at. And so Power Pathway is all about trusting the power within so you can become that aligned leader or that aligned presence that is going to continue being successful. Because I'll tell you, the women I work with and the women who struggle with the kind of this internal power, if you will, are already successful. Like they've done the things, they've made the money, they've got the career, but it's just outside of that career or outside of that professional world. Are they enjoying it? And that's what the trusting your power is really about. Because once you do that, you're just walking in rooms winning, and you don't have to do any hard work. It's just natural. I mean, you do work, right? But it's just natural. You're not fighting against yourself to make things happen.
Yes.
And so that's what it's about. So, and then that just opens up so many opportunities to enjoy time outside, to enjoy your success. Like it's like the fruits of your labor. Like when do you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor? And I think that's just so important. And I think that's usually the missing piece is like, usually somebody gets in their life, you get to a point, you're like, is this it? Is this really all there is? And to me, what that is you're doing so much, but you're still not feeling that one thing that's just like missing in your heart. And that could be becoming a coach, leaving, having more time with family, just whatever that looks like. And so hopefully this program and the people that I work with, it just unlocks that and kind of gets them really just naturally in their power to trust themselves. And then everything else kind of just flows.
Mm-hmm. Do you see a common thread between the women that you've worked with, like their story of why they don't stand in their power, or why it's so difficult, or what they're afraid of?
That's a great question. I think it comes down to they always feel like they're not good enough. They might not say it up front, but deep down, as we get through more of the work, that's what it comes down to. And I think there's also this underlying tone of, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Meaning you're supposed to just go to school, go to college, get a job, get the promotion, have kids, get married, have kids, this progression. And so what I've found is, and working with women, we've done what we're supposed to do, but we still don't have what we want. Yeah. And so that's usually the common thread. It's like we're doing all the things and fulfilling all the expectations, but we're not fulfilling our own expectations.
Yeah.
So, so I think that's the common thread.
Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think that's the common thread. Yeah. Or even like tapping into pleasure and joy. And it's, I think
Yeah.
I think part of it too, and this is just my opinion, but there's been such a suppression of the feminine for so long, right? And we're starting to move. I mean, we have for a while been moving into this like women are in high powered positions, business owners, all of these things. And so there's almost been this hard swing that I think is recalibrating now where it's like, you're either you go in there with and you're the woman I described I was, right? Where it's like you're gonna hear me, right?
Yeah.
To earn respect, because you don't think that you can get it somewhere in the middle, right?
Right. Yeah.
And or you erase yourself. The other woman is that she erases herself in those situations, right? And just blends into the background and then is left feeling frustrated, wishing she could speak up, all of those things.
Yeah. No, I think you're so right. I think a lot of this frustration comes from we want to be seen as a human, right? Like we want to be seen and understood and heard. And you're right, that pattern for women just gets so heavy where we do go into the corner and like, oh, I'll just let that happen. We'll just let that go. But every time that happens, we are slowly kind of like stepping away from that alignment that we're talking about, right? Like from our heart.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. And I think that, for it's good to be feminine. And I'll be honest, like I used to hate pink because I was like, it's so soft and such a sissy color because I think what I had from wherever, I don't know, gotten this idea that I don't want to be soft and I don't want to be like a feminine, right? But what I've learned is like, no, hell yeah. Like I can be feminine and I can wear my makeup and get all dressed up and still be that powerful leader that needs to go in and get business done, right?
Yes.
So that I think is where when we get to the point where we can stop overthinking it and we just show up.
Yeah.
That is really when that power comes through.
Yes.
And you can feel like even when I was saying that, I was like, oh shit, yeah, like that's how we want to feel, right? Like that's how we are, and that's how we are naturally. Like your natural tendency to be a leader, to walk in the room is probably not that hard one. It's different. It's just that we've been, we've had a pattern of it because we've had to speak up louder to get maybe it's the wrong people to listen to us.
Yeah.
Because the right people will hear us. And yeah, so I think it's a lot of just reprogramming our habits and just our mindset, frankly, too. It's just like, let's stop adding the pressure. And so that's like part of the power pathway is like, P is pivoting to peace, where, look, drop the pressure, embrace peace. And what peace is like, that's when we're regulated and we're ourselves and we can just show up and let go of these expectations that we have put on ourselves. I know I've done in my career. Like, I
100%.
think, like, I'm like, oh my God, I can't take a lunch. I can't take my lunch break because they're going to need me and I can't step away. My God, no, they'll be fine.
Girl, yes. That I so relate to that. It's so funny. I actually went through this whole process, this past year at my job where I had taken on and created this pressure within myself where I noticed that I wouldn't even sit down and eat. I would stand up in my kitchen and eat. And it was like I was positioning myself to be ready. I'm like bracing, right?
Yes.
And my therapist was like, can you not like sit down for 15 minutes? And I'm like, no. And she was like, is that real? And I'm like, no.
But
it's not real.
Yeah, it takes kind of like a light bulb moment to be like, oh, why am I standing? Let me take a break.
Nervous system.
Right? Yes. It is. And I think for me, like in those situations, it was like, I don't want to get in trouble.
Yes.
And like, what are they going to do? Put me in timeout for having my lunch? Like really? Like, and so these are the things, and you're right. It's just a history of, whatever we've experienced in the past to bring that up. But I know it's okay. Like once we figure out like, oh, if we're doing what we need to do and we're still delivering, like we're still badass, even if we sit down for lunch, take your lunch, walk away. It's just, that's where I think women, we're just so hard on ourselves, where we don't need to be perfect. And whose perfect are we even trying to get to anyway, right? It's certainly not our own,
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah.
And that's where I think this, or like, actually that's what my program does. And I know like there's other ways to get there, but it's just like letting yourself be powerful in your way, in yourself. And that is what I think is really what God wants.
Yeah.
Like, we're all unique for that reason. And so it's just, we got to let it out.
Yeah. Yeah. The biggest like aha moment for me in this past year, and especially in these last like several months of this transition that I'm in, is how important nervous system regulation is. Because when my nervous system takes me away, I no longer have access to choice, right? I'm in that programming. I'm in that like that space I was just describing of like, no, I can't sit down and eat. And it's like, you're not in control. Like something else is controlling and driving you right now. Like the first step for me is to regulate my nervous system, take a deep breath, come back to wise mind, right? The adult self, right? That's like, okay. I have my wound is the good girl. My biggest wound is be the good girl. Don't be the bad girl. Be compliant, be available. This is, there was so much of that tied to my worth, right? Where it's like, if you're not the good girl, then, then what, and so it was really just having to like become aware of that and then see how much I get hijacked in moments of my life where I'm no longer in the driver's seat. And that is just so pivotal. It's pivotal.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful how you described it. And you're right. Like it's unfortunate because I feel that way too, in terms of I was always trying to earn my worth by performing, whether it was like good grades in school or, let me prove that, like what you're saying, like that I'm good, I'm following the rules.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to break, right? Like break off, but it's all about the awareness, like you're saying, and it's good to have that. So important. And like for me, the metaphor is that quiet leader in the room. Because I'm like, that's safe and that's good because it's me.
Yes.
Like that is what it is. It's not because I'm quiet. It's because I'm intentional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just showing up. And I'll always remember this kind of story. So I was in one of my consulting roles. There was I wasn't in sales, but like you're always kind of like tasked to sell the next project, upsell what you're doing and things of that nature. I don't like selling, right? Like, well, let me put it this way. I don't like selling something I don't believe in, right? That's a different thing.
Yes.
But one of the sales guys was like, you're not going to make it being this nice. And I was just like, well, I'm not going to change who I am to sell this. And then it made me ask the bigger question. Well, what is make it? Like, what is your it? Like, that's his it. I have a different it, I've already made it. Like, like it was just kind of a different perspective. Like, and I think those types of comments and questions throughout our life just make us feel like there's other expectations that we are supposed to be meeting. But like I said, it's time for us as women and just as selves to have our own standards and expectations for ourselves.
So good. So good.
Thank you. Yeah. Like I just, and I love this. So my coaching background's I'm a certified high performance coach through Brendan Burchard's program. And he's always like, there's 2 jobs that you have. And one is to always summon the best of who you are. And then job number 2 is being a role model. And I think those are so beautiful because if I'm summoning the best of who I am, then I will show up as a role model kind of naturally, and even vice versa. Like if I want to be that role model. And so those things are always top of mind for me because I also feel like that's what God wants me to do.
Yes, I love that. The role model piece is huge for me because as I'm exploring kind of what exactly I want my offer to be in the coaching space, what I'm realizing is that I am the coach, I am the mentor, I am the person who walks the walk, right? And in so many ways, I'm going through my own curriculum right now, right? Like I have if you look back on the last 9 months of my life, I have been in this curriculum and learning how to rebuild this trust with myself, or build this trust with myself, that I can make the right decisions for my life, even with the outside noise, even with the influence, even with the conditioning, right? I can anchor back into my own truth and make decisions, even if it doesn't make sense to people, right?
Yes.
Even if on the other side it's going to be a lot of pain at first, right? Like I just keep moving through this and holding myself through this and creating internal safety, and as a result, I'm moving away from external resourcing and into internal resourcing, which has just been so beautiful. And so when you are that woman that you're describing, right, who is the role model, who is walking the walk, people naturally trust you and they want
Yes.
what you have. It's not, you're not some coach that has just taken a course, become certified as a coach, and now you're
Right.
doing it, you know?
Yeah. No, that's so, and you're so right about that. And the fact that you're walking through your own program, I love how you said that, because that is just so impactful beyond, like, that is the key, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like you've been in people's shoes and you can, you know what's coming, and you can help coach and you can help people discover what you've discovered before they have to go. And I simply saying, like, they don't have to learn the hard way because you're going to help them discover beforehand.
Yes.
And I think that's beautiful.
Yes.
So yeah, and that's exactly how you create your own coaching framework, or whatever how you want to serve, because it does have to be personal to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest, I've met coaches who haven't necessarily coached themselves, like they haven't been coached,
Yep.
and that it's just night and day.
It's night and day.
And it's that doesn't work. I'll just say that's not sustainable, right?
Yeah.
And so, and it's true, like coaches have coaches. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's because all of us are never perfect.
Yeah.
And so I think it's always great just to have that continuous growth and that learning and that challenge and that accountability, frankly, too, is like, I need someone to call me out when I'm not showing up as my best self and it's happened too many days in a row or something, whatever that might look like.
Yes.
And so, yeah, so that's
Mm-hmm.
good.
I love it. So walking us through your power pathway, we went through P, right? Pivot to peace, and kind of talked about in our own life how bracing has, for me, in that state of bracing, has made my decisions smaller. Like I've shrunk my ability to make decisions or what I'm deciding on, right? And so to your model, right? Peace builds, expands capacity, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And I think, and you hit on it, like, what creates peace and what regulates you? What makes you feel like even and open and yourself? And those are the practices that you have to build in. So that way you're naturally able to step into your power. Because you're right. Like, and as, people and leaders or coaches, whatever it might look like, we have to make decisions. And this is what you described, is like, we have to make very important decisions. And we can't do that if we're frazzled, if we're like all over the place, if we're not our true self, because who's making that decision? How is that being made? Right. And, and not that, I mean, we can't control that all the time, but we want the majority of our decisions to be at calm and like at peace and to show up in that way. Yeah. And so, and peace doesn't necessarily mean quiet. Sometimes peace is like excited and fun. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is me at peace because I have so much joy in my blood, or, that it could be that. And so I think that's also just important to pay attention to.
Yeah. So the own is own your worth.
Yes.
Where does tell us about that.
Ahead. No. Yeah, this one I love because this was a breakthrough for me personally. And it's also one where it can be challenging for women, and I've seen it with my clients, this is often the hardest part or the hardest breakthrough to have, if you will. But yeah, it's about owning our worth. Like, I mean, we're out here, like we're kind of talked about it a little bit, but kind of performing and trying to live up to certain expectations. And so we second guess ourselves. We dim our light, like the way people say it. We kind of quiet down so that way we're not, and I just blatantly like hurting people's feelings in the corner, or we don't want them to feel like they didn't have the answer, or we're just kind of hiding our spark, right? And we are hiding our power unless we own our worth. And we don't have to prove anything to have worth. We are already worthy. Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is such a simple statement, but it's so hard to actually take in. And so just owning your worth it just enables you to drop all the extra proving, mm-hmm. and you can just show up. Mm-hmm. And it's just such an important piece. And so through that, I'm like, it's always a reflection question, like, who am I? Who and where, like what situation am I actually trying to overprove myself or explain something? And identifying that and just kind of having that, like, oh, am I over explaining here? Let me pause and just let it go. Here's the decision. I don't need to explain why, for example. Mm-hmm. Here's what I need. I don't need to explain why. Yeah. It's just, this is what we're worth. Mm-hmm. Worth having success and joy, all of it.
Yes. Yeah, where that has shown up in my life and gosh, even recently, is this recognition that I ultimately choose you over myself by taking care of your feelings, trying to manage your perception of me, because I don't want you to think that I'm like conceited or that I think I'm better than you or, whatever. And in that process, I shrink myself when, like, dude, stop choosing other people over yourself. Like, and you're also, by doing that, you're also saying the other person's not capable of holding themselves, right?
Yes. Well, it goes back to like that role model, right? Like, if I can't stand in my worth, how are other people going to know that they stand in their worth also? Yes. Like, it's huge. Yeah. And you're so right. Like, just that that shrinking. Mm-hmm. And like you mentioned, like, it's not conceited to show up as yourself. People are looking for it. They need us, right?
We need women standing in their power. We need women showing other women that it is safe to do that.
Yes.
That there's nothing to prove,
Exactly. Yeah, there's nothing to prove. And I have to say, like, too, it's like we're not competing against each other.
No.
Right? And that, I think, is another thing where worth gets tied up in all of that, where, well, I have to be performing at this certain level. I have to make X number of dollars. I have to have this many followers. Mm-hmm. All these types of, I don't know, numbers that we have to meet, but it's not. It's about our feeling. Like, do you feel worth it when you wake up in the morning? And that is the goal. Like, that's how women especially, need to be reminded. Like, you are worth it just because you woke up.
Yes.
And the day is yours. And you're worth the joy in the day and the success in the day and just all the blessings that are around.
Yes.
Just by waking up.
And from that place, we end up attracting more abundance into our life,
Yes.
It's just so,
It's so good.
So good. So W, win your way. Tell us about that.
Win your way. Okay. We are usually running someone else's race. And we need to stop doing that. We need to run our own race, meaning, what does winning look like for you specifically, right? Like, is winning, and some people don't like the word winning, but I love it because I am competitive and by nature. I want to do an awesome job just because I like that feeling. I like the challenge of things like that. Not in a performative way, but just because I enjoy the hunt, if you will.
Totally.
But yeah, so like winning, whatever that looks like. And so many times we're kind of running to a finish line that we don't even know where that finish line is.
Yeah.
And so we have to set that up. Like, does that mean, generational wealth? Does it just mean breaking generational habits? Is it, I just want time at home with my family after work, or I want to be able to take summers off and travel? Like whatever that winning looks like, we have to actually define it. And because it's the Olympics, I'm like, how would we know we won the gold medal in our life? Like, what would that be for? We have to know what that's for. And so it's a very conscious thing we have to think of. We can't just keep like running and going through the motions. We have to actually define what we want. And that's our win. That's our winning moment. So that's what that's about, like getting really clear on that.
I love that it comes after own your worth, because if you can't own your worth, you're not going to feel like you deserve to ask or clarify what you want or desire.
Yeah. If you don't have your worth, you might not even feel you can win.
Right.
And like totally, yes, you can.
Yes.
Like, and that's not to like, and this is where I don't want people to get mixed up. It's like, it doesn't mean you're losing in other places. It just means you're winning and progressing in the way you want.
Yes.
And it just feels so good because you set the goal. And yeah, it's just, it's again, own your worth to get what you want, is in that third step. So it's good. I'm curious, what do you think, like winning, like what does winning mean for you?
Yeah, this phase of my life, winning for me means kind of what we just talked about, like being able to show up in every room as myself and to be able to speak the truth at every moment without this filtering of who am I going to offend, what will people think, and then also just knowing that I'm worth going for exactly what I want in life. That is winning, is being like, I get to have the life of my dreams too. Just like I sat on the sidelines of my life for most of my life, looking at other people and thinking they're the lucky ones, right? Oh, that they're the lucky one. They're the lucky one. Winning is realizing and recognizing that there aren't actual lucky ones. It's the ones who step into their power and into their power and into their life and own it. And own it. Like that's winning to me.
Yeah. You don't win on the sidelines, right?
Yeah.
You have to actually step in, and that's beautiful. You shared. I love that. Yeah.
So the E, embody your power.
Embody your power. Yeah, this one, it might sound like, oh, take it in. No, I meant it literally, like in your freaking body, like sit up straight. Like even now, I'm just like, oh, let me sit up straighter. Like you feel even more powerful when you put your shoulders back a little bit, right? And it's all about just like how you're showing up and your voice, your posture, just actually having that confidence, frankly, in that power is just like running through your body. And, I laugh because last night at the event I was at, we had a few salon owners in the room, and I was like, you help women embody their power, like getting their hair done, like those things matter, and I don't, it does. Like I feel more confident when I have little jewels on or whatever, and it just makes a difference. And so you can stand a little taller. And so whatever that looks like for people. I mean, for me, I like it that like you can do triggers and different things to remind you. But like for me, if I'm literally walking into a meeting or about to turn on the Zoom for a call or something, it's like, okay, I just tell myself some things. I do remind myself, like, I'm worth it. I know how to figure things out, and I'm going to have fun. And so then I go into that room with that energy. So that's kind of like my trigger of like, how am I embodying that as I move forward? And so that's my kind of, I like, obviously people create that for themselves. Like, what does that look like?
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I mean, it just really speaks to that what we were saying earlier is that you can literally do anything. And if you have confidence, if you exude confidence,
yes,
you can sell a piece of ice to an Eskimo.
Yes.
Literally, if you're like, but this is the best ice in the world. This is amazing. Sure. This is going to change your life,
Yeah, this life-changing ice. Yeah, you're totally right.
Yes. And then the R is realize you're winning.
Yes. And so this one is really, it's about realizing where you're at and have gratitude for it and give yourself credit, because you're already winning in so many areas and so many ways. And sometimes it's, I woke up today and you're fucking winning and you better celebrate that. Sometimes it's, oh my gosh, at least I didn't burn my dinner and I'm having a good dinner, right? Like no matter how big or small, it's just, we need to take those moments to celebrate where we're at. And it's, like this metaphor came up because I've been watching some of the Olympics that are going on right now. But, there's so many times where as women, we move the goalposts. And I was like, there was no way if somebody was racing, like, I don't know, the races in the Olympics, they won the gold and they only won by 0.5 seconds, super tiny. They're not going to say, let me redo that race. I want to win by 5 seconds. They already won, right? Like, they already won. So that's what we need to do. We already won. Let's celebrate it. Acknowledge that. Take that in, and then move on to the next, whatever you want to be doing. And I think that's important to call out, because one, this actually trains our brain to see the evidence that, hey, I know how to do hard things and I know how to accomplish what I'm setting out to do, and I know how to make progress. And so celebrating that each day. And my tip for that one is, like, every day, write down at least one way you won that day. And, like, say, big or small. And then by the end of the week, you're going to have 7 awesome things that you can celebrate and actually do that. So it's, I mean, it sounds silly, but it's amazing what this does for your heart and for your mind. It builds your confidence, and it really does build that muscle of, like, let me go hard, try to do hard stuff, and I'm going to get it done. And have those hard conversations, or have those things where we pivot. And, like, the wins we should be celebrating are, hey, I used my voice today.
Yes.
Right? Like what you're saying. I used my voice today. I spoke up. I asked for what I wanted. And, get kind of just proving to ourselves. It's like our evidence bucket.
Yes. I mean, we are just trained and conditioned to look for what's not right.
Totally.
What is not working? What did I not do right today? What could I have done better? Right. And so it's so true. The power is really in taking a pause and being like, girl, you're almost 11 years sober. You've mentored so many people. You've chose courage over and over and over again. Can we take a step back and can we look at the beauty? Can we look at the, it's just so, we're just always like, how can I be better? How can I be better? I am, right? How can I be better? I'm always focused on the growth, and very rarely do I stop and pause and go back to what's beautiful and true for me right now.
Yeah, and that's so important to do, because I mean, I love growth, but growth can turn into painful work if we're not celebrating along the way.
Yes.
Like, in my opinion, there's no way you can sustain growth, even if you love it, because you have to celebrate it. Like, it has to be a journey of winning along the way. So that way you're like, cool, I want to keep doing this and growing and challenging myself and all of that. So celebrate yourself. 11 years sober. I mean, that's amazing. And just, like, it is a daily reminder of, putting it on our mirror as soon as we wake up, and just like, I'm so blessed. I'm worth it. And let's go have some fucking fun. Because, like, let's just do it. And I love that. And I think, and I mean it literally, because yes, we're going to have to do hard shit.
Yes.
But you can still have fun.
Yes.
It's just, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Sarah Blakely. I don't know if you follow her, but I love her. She created Spanx.
Yes.
She's just so lovely and amazing. But I saw her one time at giving a presentation, and I'm going to mess up what she said, but basically she was like, I don't have to be serious about serious things. Meaning, there's going to be serious things that we have to deal with, but we don't have to be serious. Like, we can have fun. We can acknowledge it. We can just, like, show up as ourselves. And that always stuck with me, because I'm like, I think you said it too, like, we're just kind of trained or molded into taking things so seriously, or or for me at least, it's always been like, okay, you're going to school to get a job. You're going to go to here to get a job. Like, it's all about this like production, right?
Yeah.
It's not, hey, let's go, you know, I don't know, find a game and just go play board games. Like,
Yes, yes. I feel
So.
like my inner rebel has just been awoken in this where I'm like, question fucking everything. Question everything.
Yeah.
We don't question anything. We're just like, exactly like it reminded me of that because it's like,
Yes.
graduate high school, go to school, get a job, get a family, da da da. And it's like, question fucking everything.
Yes, I agree. And you're right. Like, when do we question? Like, well, here's the thing. If we stray from that path that you just kind of talked through, we feel like we weren't supposed to. So then we feel like we did wrong. And then we don't feel like we're worth what we're trying to get just because these, you know, unsocietal rules or whatever we want to call them. But it is. It's like, well, why is that better?
Yeah.
You know, like, why is that better? Because it's not better for me, you know?
Right.
And I do like asking those questions because I'm genuinely curious and I'm like, oh, I never looked at it that way. Maybe I will try that, right? Or something else. And we just open up to just different ways. And our curiosity is really what brings people together, in my opinion.
Totally. Yeah, I just have always been like up until this point in my life, have always been a girl who just kind of fell in line and was like, oh, okay, this is how we do things. This is what, you know, and only in the last, you know, this last chapter of my life have I been like, no, you get to question anything you want. Like, who wrote the fucking rules here?
Yes.
You know?
And I think with that questioning also, sorry, let me cut you off.
No.
That questioning also is like, we have the ability and the right to question, and we have the ability to choose.
Yes.
I think that is what is almost like, I'm like thinking, I'm like, oh shoot, maybe that's what I realized too, is like, oh, I have a choice. I have an option.
Yes.
I create my options and I get to pick which one I want.
Yes. Yeah.
And feel good about it. And I don't have to over explain or, you know, make people feel safer in my decision. This is my decision.
Yes.
Because like you're gonna run into it if you haven't already, but there's gonna be people like, oh my gosh, you left your secure job, who you were serving people, and they're not gonna understand. And they're gonna be people closest to you probably. And sure, they support you, but they're also scared for you because they don't get it. And
which is a projection, also a projection of their own, like, I would never do that.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yes,
you know,
they don't understand it.
Right.
They don't have that pull in their heart. There's probably something else in their heart they haven't followed. And so they're like, kind of like, well, who is she to follow her heart? I didn't follow my heart. So you're right. And so I think that's another thing that I would share with people who are just starting new, because I've partly navigated it, and just in everything really, it's almost, if we look at it like our decisions and choices, we're different. We do things differently because we're each unique. So we're never going to fully, people are never fully going to understand necessarily why and what we're doing, and they don't need to. Totally. At all.
Yeah, my sweet dad. I mean, my dad, for other reasons, he's my dad, right? But like, I remember calling, or I sent him a text, and I was in a moment where I was like, yeah, this is fucking great. Like, my dad's, he can get a little woo woo too. So I'm like, he's totally, in my mind, I'm like, he's totally going to get it. I'm following my heart. Right.
Yeah.
And he never responded to my text message. And then he called me like a day later or something, 2 days later. I was like, yeah, I didn't really know how to respond. Like, he was like, you have to still like pay your rent and your car payment. And I immediately was like, yeah, of course I fucking know that, you know? And I like immediately go to, but you know, there's also the history of me being a drug addict too, where it's like, my dad had to support me at one point in my life. He's coming from that angle too. Like, hell no. Am I going to have to support her again? Even though I've been sober and have been taking care of myself for 11 years, you know, fully self-supporting. But like, his fear started to come to the surface, and to your parts of your model, it's like, am I going to stand in sovereignty and hold myself in this and not collapse? I don't have to take on his fear. I can be like, yeah, it makes sense that you would feel that way.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's your dad. He's been in this position with you before. Like, he would never do something like this. Like, can we come from this place of just like, yeah, of course, that makes so much sense that you would feel that way, and I don't have to take it on at all.
Yeah, and that's beautiful. And that's huge. That's such good, powerful inside work or internal work to be able to let that go. And I think parents, like for me at least too, is like my mom just she's always been that voice that I've been trying to like get her approval. Not that, right? Like, not that she doesn't approve, but it's like something about it, right? That we're always striving for some sort of approval, and all that worry, like a question, like even to like the talk I did last night, my mom, I was just telling her about it, and she was just like, oh, are you going to wear a suit or a blazer?
Yep.
And I'm like,
yep.
Oh my God, I've been working for like 25,
yep.
more than 25
I know what to wear. I got
it. Thank you. I was like, thank you. So that's what, now I just say, oh, thank you. Like, I don't know what else to say, because it's just like, I can't take that on or defend, because that would have been my past self, like defending, because I'm trying to prove, no, mom, I deserve to be here, and then I'm going to wear the right thing, right?
Totally.
So it's just interesting. But and I share that to say, like, and same with your dad, like, I know it all comes from love too. It's like
totally
for us, but it's so great to have the feeling later when we're like, look at what I've done, following my heart and following where I've been pulled, and they're going to just be even prouder. So it's kind of fun.
Totally. Absolutely, girl. What does power feel like in your body today?
I think it's like, for me, it's the energy. Like, it's just showing up, just knowing that I can show up as myself and I'm still amazing. And not that I'm proving to anybody about that, but just that I feel that way. Like, I do feel blessed, and I do feel that, like, a lot of times I'm just like, let me just surrender this over to God, because I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I'll do it. Let me keep doing it and sticking with this calling. So for power for me is like, I feel your energy. I'm so glad we got to connect today, because I get, like, I do feed off of other people's positive, powerful energy. And so I just feel happy, frankly.
Yes. I'm so glad we got to connect.
Yeah.
So for those who are listening, who are connecting with Jessica, who are interested in her offer and, seeking out potentially working with her, where can we find you?
Yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn, Jessica M. Thomas, but also at zenithcoachingllc.com. And I offer complimentary power activation sessions, where just to see where you're at with your power, how aligned are you, and just to see if my work might help and benefit you or anybody who's interested. Because I'll be honest, a lot of people don't know what coaching is. And so we got to I share a taste of it, so that way you can feel comfortable and just learn more about it with it. So
awesome.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful our paths crossed, and we're checking in tomorrow with our little small group. So excited.
Yeah.
But you're incredible, and thank you for being the example of taking the leap and following your heart, because I know for me, it was just a little God wink that was like, you're on the right path. Here's another woman who's doing the same thing, who's listening to her heart, no matter what the noise is saying. Right.
No, I love that. Thank you. No, and I'm so glad that I got to be in that room with you, and then become partners, and then continue on in friendship. I think this is going to be amazing. And you're such a blessing to so many people, and I can't wait to see what you do with your coaching.
Thank you so much. Yes. All right, Jessica, what is one word you want to leave the audience with going into this next chapter of their life, if they're venturing onto something that they want to be doing?
Great question. Okay, we've already talked about power, so I'm just going to say allow yourself. I know that's 2 words, but just allow.
Okay. Allow. I love that. My word is going to be magic.
Love it.
Magic. Yes.
Yes, that's so great. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
Well, thank you again for your time. It is an honor. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And
Yes.
until next time.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on. We'll talk soon. Bye.
Bye.